The story I'm going to tell is about a king. Not just any king, but one of the richest people ever. He ruled a massive empire in Africa. And on one of his trips, he showed the world how rich he was in a way no one expected. He literally threw so much gold around that he messed up an entire country's money system. This isn't a made-up story. It really happened. Let's talk about Mansa Musa. He wasn't born into gold. He got the throne because his brother went missing. His brother Mansa Abu Bakr II sailed off into the Atlantic Ocean. He wanted to see what was on the other side. He never came back. So Mansa Musa became the ruler of the Mali Empire. This was in the early 1300s. Mali was a huge place. It covered a lot of West Africa. Think of it as a giant rich land. It stretched from the Atlantic coast far inland. It had control over important trade routes. And what did it trade? Gold and salt. These were like the oil and diamonds of that time. Everyone wanted them. The empire grew strong because of how it managed its resources. And gold came from places like the Bambouk goldfields. These were deep within the empire. Salt came from the Sahara Desert. Places like Tagaza produced huge blocks of salt. Salt was as valuable as gold in some areas. People needed it to preserve food. They also needed it for their health. Mansa Musa inherited this powerful and wealthy kingdom. But he didn't just maintain it. He made it even better. He expanded its borders. He brought more land and more people under his rule. He made sure the trade routes were safe. This meant more gold and salt flowed through Mali. More gold meant more wealth for the king. He was a devout Muslim. Islam had been in West Africa for centuries. It came through trade. Many rulers before him had also been Muslim, but Mansa Musa took his faith very seriously. This is important because it's why he took his famous trip. Under his rule, cities like Timbuktu and Gao became major centers. They weren't just for trade, they also became places of learning. Scholars came there. The libraries grew. Mosques were built. But this was still before his big journey. The world outside of Africa mostly didn't know how rich or how advanced Mali was. Europe was still in its Middle Ages. They had their own struggles. They didn't really look south of the Sahara. That was about to change. Mansa Musa wanted to make the Hajj. This is the pilgrimage to Mecca. Every Muslim who can is supposed to do it. It's a journey of faith. But for a king like Mansa Musa, it was also a chance to show off his empire's power. He wanted to make a statement. He wanted to put Mali on the map. Literally. He wanted the world to see the glory of his kingdom. He prepared for years. This was not a quick trip. It was a massive undertaking. He had to plan for food, water, and protection for thousands of people. He also had to plan for what to bring, and what he brought was truly mind-boggling. No one had ever seen anything like it. His journey would become legendary. It would change how the world saw Africa. It would also cause major problems for one unlucky city. So Mansa Musa decided to go on his Hajj. This wasn't just a normal trip. It was an event. It was a moving city, really. He started his journey in 1324. He set out from his capital. No one knows exactly where his capital was. But it was somewhere deep within the Mali Empire. The scale of this trip was mind-blowing. Imagine this, thousands and thousands of people. Historical accounts vary. Some say 60,000 people. Others say 80,000. It doesn't matter the exact number. It was a huge crowd. This wasn't just his personal guards. It was his whole royal court. It was officials. It was servants. It was even jesters and entertainers. And of course, thousands of soldiers to protect everyone. Then there were the animals. Thousands of camels. Thousands of horses. Each camel carried a lot of weight. And what were they carrying? Gold. So much gold. Some reports say 100 camels each carried 100 pounds of gold. That's 10,000 pounds of gold. Other accounts say 80 camels, each with 300 pounds of gold dust. The numbers differ, but the point is, it was an unimaginable amount of gold. Each camel carried what would be a small fortune today. This gold wasn't just for showing off. Some of it was for expenses. They needed to buy food and water along the way. They needed to pay tolls, they needed to give gifts, but a lot of it was for Mansa Musa to give away. He wanted to be generous. He wanted to show the world the wealth of Mali. The journey itself was incredibly difficult. They had to cross the Sahara Desert. This is one of the harshest places on Earth. It's vast, it's hot. Water is scarce, sandstorms are common. It took months to cross. They traveled slowly, they had to manage the supplies carefully. Every drop of water, every bit of food was important. As they traveled, people watched in awe. This massive caravan snaked its way across the desert. It passed through different lands. People in small villages had never seen anything like it. They saw the golden staffs of the royal guards. They saw the rich robes of Mansa Musa and his court. They heard the sounds of the travelers. It was a spectacle. Word of his journey spread ahead of him. Imagine the rumors. A king is coming. He has so much gold. He gives it away. This built up a lot of excitement. It also built up a lot of expectation. People knew he was coming long before he arrived. He didn't just travel straight to Mecca, he made stops along the way. One of his most important stops was in Egypt, or specifically in Cairo. Cairo was a major city. It was a hub of trade and culture. It was home to the Mamluk Sultan. This was the most powerful ruler in the region. Mansa Musa was about to arrive there, and what happened in Cairo would go down in history. It would be an economic earthquake. He was about to introduce his empire's incredible wealth to a world that had no idea it existed. And in doing so, he would inadvertently cause a lot of problems. This wasn't just a vacation. It was a mission of faith, a mission of diplomacy, and, whether he knew it or not, a mission of economic disruption. He was bringing so much gold into a new economy. The effects would be immediate and severe. No one in Cairo was ready for it. No one had ever seen such a display of wealth. It would change their understanding of money itself. Mansa Musa and his huge caravan finally reached Cairo. This was in 1324. The city was already a bustling place. It was a center of trade, art, and learning. But it had never seen anything like this. The arrival itself was a spectacle. Imagine the dust cloud. Imagine the sheer number of people and animals. The sound. The sight of all that gold. The Mamluk Sultan, named Al-Nasir Muhammad, was the ruler of Egypt. He sent his people to greet Mansa Musa. There was a bit of a diplomatic hiccup at first. The Sultan expected Mansa Musa to bow to him. Mansa Musa refused. He said he would only bow to God. This caused some tension, but eventually they worked it out. Mansa Musa was a king. He wanted to be treated as an equal, but the real story isn't about the bowing. It's about the gold. Mansa Musa was incredibly generous. He wasn't just giving away a few coins. He was handing out gold like it was common dirt. He gave gold to the poor. He gave gold to officials. He gave gold to the people who entertained him. He gave it to anyone who asked, it seemed. He spent gold freely. He bought things. He paid for his entire entourage's needs. He gifted large sums to the Mamluk Sultan himself. He did this for weeks. He stayed in Cairo for 3 months. For 3 months, the city was awash in gold. At first, people were thrilled. Free gold, they thought. It seemed like a blessing. But it quickly turned into a problem, a big problem. Think about how money works. If there's a lot of something, its value goes down. If there's only a little, its value goes up. In Cairo, before Mansa Musa arrived, gold had a certain value. It was precious. People had to work hard for it. Then, suddenly, there was gold everywhere. So much gold. Mansa Musa had brought a supply of gold that Cairo had never seen. People had more gold than they knew what to do with. What happened next was simple economics. The value of gold went down. It crashed. This is called inflation. When the value of money goes down, prices of other things go up. So if your gold coin used to buy you a loaf of bread, now it might only buy you half a loaf. Or maybe a quarter, because the bread sellers knew everyone had gold. They raised their prices. The impact was immediate. The economy of Cairo went into a tailspin. Merchants suffered. People who relied on fixed income suffered. The Mamluk treasury, which was based on a certain value of gold, was suddenly much poorer in real terms. Their currency, their entire financial system, was thrown into chaos. This wasn't a small dip. It was a massive disruption. Prices for basic goods, food, and services skyrocketed. People's savings, if they were in gold, became less valuable. The ripple effect was huge. It affected everyone in the city. Historians and chroniclers of the time wrote about it. They said Mansa Musa's gold distribution caused the value of gold to drop so much that it took 12 years for the market to recover. 12 years! Imagine if today a huge amount of money suddenly appeared in a major city. And it messed up the economy for over a decade. That's what Mansa Musa did in Cairo, purely by being too generous with his gold. He didn't mean to, he just wanted to show his wealth. He wanted to be a good Muslim. He wanted to give to charity. But the scale of his wealth was just too much for the local economy to handle. His vacation became a lesson in unintended economic consequences. After leaving Cairo, Mansa Musa continued his journey to Mecca. He completed his Hajj. This was the main spiritual purpose of his trip. In Mecca, he fulfilled his religious duties. He visited holy sites. He gave more gold, though perhaps not on the same destructive scales he had in Cairo. The focus in Mecca was more on spiritual fulfillment and charity within a different context. He spent time learning from scholars. He brought back new ideas and knowledge. This was just as important to him as showing off his wealth. And he was a king who valued learning. After his pilgrimage was done, it was time to go home. The return journey was just as long and hard as the way there, but on his way back through Egypt, Mansa Musa realized the economic damage he had caused. He heard about the inflation, he saw the struggling economy, he understood what his generosity had done. He felt bad about it. He wanted to fix it. So he tried to reverse the damage. He tried to buy back gold. But he had to do it at a much higher price than he had given it away. He effectively borrowed gold from Cairo merchants. He promised to repay them with interest when he got back to Mali. This shows he understood the principles of money, even if his initial actions were based on pure generosity. This attempt to fix things highlights a crucial point. His actions weren't malicious. They were simply too big. His wealth was so immense that it distorted an entire market. The amount of gold he brought was like pouring a whole ocean into a small pond. It overflows. It changes everything. His journey wasn't just about faith and showing off, it was also a massive diplomatic tour. He met other rulers. He established new ties. He made Mali known to the world. Before his Hajj, many maps of the world didn't even show Mali. Or if they did, it was just a blank space. After his Hajj, Mali started appearing on European maps. It was shown as a rich empire, and Mansa Musa was often depicted holding a gold nugget. This was a direct result of his trip. The return home was a triumph for Mansa Musa personally. He had completed his Hajj. He had seen the world. He had interacted with other powerful rulers. He brought back a lot of knowledge and new ideas. He also brought back scholars, architects, and artisans from the Arab world. These people would help him transform Mali, but the story of Cairo's economic crash was a powerful one. It taught everyone a lesson about the delicate balance of an economy. It showed that even good intentions, when combined with unlimited wealth, could have serious unintended consequences. He had inadvertently done something truly extraordinary. He had crashed an economy by being too rich and too generous. It was a unique incident in history. It cemented his reputation as one of the wealthiest men ever. But it also showed the power of gold to disrupt as much as it could build. He had brought the world's attention to Mali. But he had also left a lasting economic mark on Cairo. Mansa Musa returned to Mali after his epic journey. He didn't just sit on his mountain of gold, he used his wealth and the experiences from his Hajj to transform his empire. His pilgrimage wasn't just a personal spiritual journey, it became a catalyst for Mali's golden age. He brought back architects. These architects, influenced by what they saw in Cairo and Mecca, designed impressive new buildings. They built mosques, they built universities. The most famous of these was in Timbuktu. Timbuktu, already a trading post, became something much more. Mansa Musa invested heavily in it. He built the Jingwa Mosque. He established a university. This university, along with others in the city, became a magnet for scholars. People came from all over the Islamic world. They studied astronomy, mathematics, law, medicine, and theology. Timbuktu became a major intellectual and spiritual center. It was like the Oxford or Cambridge of Africa at that time. Libraries in Timbuktu swelled with manuscripts. Many of these manuscripts are still there today. They are precious records of African history, science, and literature. Mansa Musa's vision made this happen. He saw the value in learning. He understood that true power wasn't just about gold. It was also about knowledge. He also reformed his government. He established a more efficient administration. He made sure justice was fair. He strengthened the military to protect his vast empire and its trade routes. Under his rule, Mali was stable and prosperous. His Hajj also changed how the world saw Mali. Before, it was mostly unknown to Europeans. After his Hajj, Mali appeared on European maps, like the famous Catalan Atlas of 1375. On this map, Mansa Musa is depicted sitting on a throne, holding a gold scepter and a gold nugget. This image made it clear Mali was a source of immense wealth. This put Mali firmly on the global stage. It encouraged trade and diplomacy between Mali and other parts of the world. The economic lesson from Cairo was also part of his legacy. It taught the world that gold, while powerful, needed to be managed carefully. An oversupply could be just as damaging as a shortage. It showed the complex interplay of wealth and value. Mansa Musa ruled for about 25 years. He died around 1337. His reign is often seen as the peak of the Mali Empire's power and influence. He left behind an empire that was rich, educated, and well-governed. He is remembered as one of history's richest individuals. His personal net worth, adjusted for inflation, is often estimated to be in the hundreds of billions, even trillions of dollars. But it wasn't just his money that made him important, it was how he used it. He showed that African empires were not just sources of raw materials. They were centers of learning, culture, and power. He demonstrated that Africa had rich traditions and advanced civilizations. His journey was a pivotal moment. It shaped perceptions, it fueled scholarship, and it left an indelible mark on both the economy of Cairo and the intellectual landscape of Mali. He was a king who literally put his country on the map with gold and then used that visibility to build a lasting legacy of knowledge.